Greetings, Omni Dogs and Omni Kittens. Hey-o. It's Baturdays in the Batcave with Uplifting DC Books with my co-host, Taylor. How's it going, Taylor?
I'm doing great, and in this crazy time, it's good to see some things never change. Jesse Say What was the first one in the chat with a comment.
Very nice.
Like always. Good to see everybody.
Very nice. We were going to do a couple of other books that deal with Batman, but they were kind of a bummer. They were a little bleak. I started reading them and I messaged Taylor and I said, I'm not sure these are the books we should be talking about right at this moment. So
yeah, for those of you who are wondering, it's Deceased, which is pretty much all about a infection that spreads across the entire world and infects almost everyone. And then the other book was Dark Multiverse, which is all about these different worlds where everything goes wrong instead of going right. And so I think it was a little bit of a bad timing. That wasn't really our fault, but just how things are going right now.
Yeah, we picked them on the schedule a long time ago, and I thought maybe we shouldn't review these particular books.
Right. I think everyone's a little bit in a downer mood right now, so we want to talk about things that are uplifting, not going to push you down and make you feel worse.
Right. Exactly. So we have uplifting DC books that some include Batman, some include other characters, but they all have the quality of being reasonably feel-good books. Reasonably.
And Pop Culture says, I'm finally live for my first Baturdays. Awesome.
Nice, Pop Culture.
I always see his comments in the comment. He says, yeah, I missed it again. So glad he's finally here.
Well, it's good that notifications are working.
It seems like it's working a little bit better today.
Because I have been having a problem with my channel with notifications. So I'm glad to see that it's working then, for Pop Culture at least. And everybody else that's in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you didn't get a notification. There's not really much we can do at this point, but it seems like it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's our last show. I thought it was a really fun show, but we had the least amount of people we've ever had because the notifications weren't working. We had like 20 people the entire time, which never happens.
Yeah, and I even posted to Facebook, and that's where the collector said he got a Facebook notification.
Pop Culture says he even got the countdown, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Doc Collector says YouTube did give him one. All right, good.
Good. And Mr. Body Massage, let's highlight his content. That's a very funny name, I think. Thank you guys for continued content. Makes our lives a little easier. Well, that is a great comment. Thank you very much, Mr. Body Massage. We appreciate it. It gives us something to look forward to, too. And hopefully take your mind off of things for an hour.
Yeah, I know doing these shows helps me to not focus on anything else besides comic books for an hour and a half. So I always look forward to these times together and with all of you guys too.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody that I appreciate everybody that's checked in. Candace. Oh, and there's Iman. Hey, Iman. Candace says, hi guys, can I represent Batgirl and Harley fans? Yes, you can.
I thought Jess represented the Harley fans.
I'm happy to welcome a fellow Harley fan.
So Jeff, have you watched the Birds of Prey on video on demand yet?
I have not.
Isn't it? It's available now, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Are you gonna wait for the inevitable Blu-ray whenever it comes out?
Maybe I'll wait for the Blu-ray because it may have like the director's cut or something.
Yeah, that's true. Watch special features and things like that too.
Yeah, that's when I will definitely think about getting on Blu-ray.
Tim Klein has a compliment for us. He says he just finished Batman and Robin Omnibus. Loved it. Thanks again. I think we told him to read it. Like that picture of you.
That's a great picture of me.
How many people have you as their avatar now? It's got to be at least 5 now, right? Or more.
I don't know.
Now Gabe's starting to catch up to you. I think Tasty Melon has Gabe as his, and a couple other people too.
Facebook user is giving us a compliment. Love the interview with Greg Rucka. Top notch. Thank you. We were grateful to have him. He was a great guy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we interviewed Greg Rucka last week, and that interview is up on Jess's YouTube channel, so go check that out if you haven't already. It was a great hour-and-a-half conversation that we were surprised he let us go that long. We were hoping for at least 45 minutes, but he's just kept talking. Like, okay, I guess we'll just see how long this goes.
And it was interesting as heck.
Around the hour-and-a-half mark, I thought we need to start winding this down. Kind of want to wear out our welcome too much. I would love to have him on again sometime.
Yeah, we could have gone on longer, but you're right. I didn't want to make him feel like we were imposing.
Ryan Lawson, you already know the answer to that question.
Yeah. Ryan Lawson, the answer is no.
And then Tim Klein says the silent issue of Batman and Robin was super profound. That's definitely one of my top 10 favorite issues of all time, in my opinion. I love that issue.
Is that's a Greg Rucka issue?
No, that's from Peter Tomasi's run with Patrick Gleason on Batman and Robin.
Right.
I don't want to ruin why it's a silent issue, but I'll just say that Batman experiences a devastating loss.
Right.
And it's him grieving and going through that process.
Okay, I got confused. I was like, wait a second.
And then pop culture, we're getting inundated with compliments right now, which is great.
Right on. This is the compliment part of the show. That was a great interview and informative. Who knew Comixology doesn't get the creators much money?
That was probably one of the most interesting parts of the show for me.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that it was that big of a discrepancy between physical copies and digital.
I had no idea.
Because the interesting thing for me is I always hear people talk about how digital is cheaper, but I don't really think it is cheaper. It seems like it's pretty much the same price. Unless you get like sales.
Yeah, if you get sales, I guess. But I had no idea that the contract that was signed gives. I feel badly now getting anything on Comixology. I feel like
I just posted on someone posted on Facebook about how they were buying Lazarus in physical copies now because they watched our interview and they want to support Rucka. And I said, if you want to read digital, even he said it, I'm not going to judge you for that. He said it's perfectly fine if you want to read digital. I'm glad people are reading it, but if you have a job right now, if you're getting paid, this is a great way to support the comic creators that we love. It's going out on IST, Barnes & Noble. I know Amazon's really backed up right now. They're not shipping out comics for a while. But support these creators by ordering books out of their backlog, stock that already exists. This is a time where we need to support them as well. And comic book stores, if you're able to support your local comic book store.
Yeah. My comic book store is shipping their books, so I could order from them and have them shipped. They're an hour away, so it's easier for them to be shipped. Candace, no, they don't get a very fair cut on digital. Greg Rucka said that they get pennies on digital compared to print comics.
Yeah, he didn't tell us the exact breakdown, so we can't speak to that, but he made it sound like it was negligible at best.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a help. But he did say, again, he's glad that people are reading it. But I think it's important for us as readers to know that if we want to support our favorite creators, go out and buy physical if you can, if you're able.
Yeah. I agree.
And Ben Hamill, I could listen to Rucka talk about PI shows and how they reflected of the era they were made in all day. Okay, good. I was worried I was the only one who was really into that part because I'm really into PI books and PI movies. So I'm glad other people were really into that as well.
Well, I loved how he pointed out the difference between the two PIs we talked about, Rockford and
Dex Perios.
And who?
Dex Perios from Sunday?
No, between Rockford Files and
Magnum.
Right. Yeah, the Magnum had like a butler and a house he inherited and everything, and Rockford was living in a trailer. And his insights on PIs was really cool.
Yeah, he pretty much told us that every single decade there's a PI or a detective that kind of reflects that era. Like the 70s was a time of distrust, a time of paranoia over authority figures after Watergate and everything, was the 80s was a time of excess. And that was really reflected in Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Klein, how about we start talking about vinyl? I know that was really a big part of the show for Jess.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear. That was really cool to hear.
Did you go on eBay and buy that vinyl cleaner that he was talking about?
No. No, didn't he say it was super expensive?
I think he said it was like $700 or something.
Yeah, no.
I think him and some other guy are sharing it, he said.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But right now, he's the one who has it during the quarantine, so he's making out right now, I think, with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did not do that. I have a little hand cleaner that I've used for 40 years, and I'm still using it. So
let me ask you this question, though. If we had interviewed Greg Rucka about that in 2016...
Oh, I still wouldn't have done it.
Okay, I was like, maybe 2016 Jess would have gotten it. Imagine that probation pie.
Oh my gosh. No, I still wouldn't have done it.
That's funny. Yeah, so we're really hoping someday down the road to have him back on, because there's so many things we didn't get to cover in that interview, even though it was so long. So hopefully one day we'll get him back on the show.
Yeah. Tim, I haven't shared my vinyl collection. It's the reason is it's not really well organized right now. I lost some albums. I lost a lot of albums in the flood. And I can't bring myself to pull those out and see just how badly damaged they are. I have a lot of new albums. So once I get reorganized, I can share my vinyl collection. But some of my treasures just got destroyed in the flood, and I just don't have the heart to go in and pull them out right now. I mean, that was 3 years ago.
How can you tell if they're damaged? You have to play them, or can you tell by looking at it?
Well, the records, first of all, the covers are ruined and stuck together. So I mean, you have to separate them, and they rip apart. And but I can clean up the records. But I've got a ripped album cover, and it just I don't know. It's really hard. It's heartbreaking for me.
You probably had some of those vinyls since like the 70s, right?
Oh yeah.
That's probably that nostalgia that's holding you back from wanting to look at those things.
Yeah. I don't know that the water hurt the vinyl, but it hurt the covers, D.H. McAdams. I just haven't had the heart to go in and try and play them. I know it ruined my Batman animated series expensive cover. I have the album tacked up on my wall that's shaped like Batman, and it's got the theme to the animated series. So nothing happened to it, but the cover got ruined, and I went on eBay, and I can't afford to buy it.
Oh my gosh. Is that from Mondo?
Yeah.
Oh man, they always make such great Batman animated series stuff too.
They really do.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that really hurt.
Well, we're supposed to be talking about uplifting stuff right now, so let's move away from your flood damage.
Okay, good.
Do you want to talk about some uplifting DC books now, Jess?
Sure.
How about you go first?
Okay, I will go with, this will come as a surprise to no one, Tom King's Batman Book 3. I love this book. I love all of it and everything about it. But and it just makes me happy to read it and reread it, because it shows such a different side of Batman with Selina. And the Poison Ivy episode is one of my favorites in comics, where he's right here when Poison Ivy's taken over the world, and Bruce is saying, I don't know. When she's saying, what do we do? And Bruce is just very human right there, saying, I don't know. And I also love this one because it's got the let's see where it is. Doesn't this have, where am I looking here? Yeah, where they where they go on the date to the carnival, and they have to dress as each other. And I just love this issue because it shows Batman is so human. We all know Superman's human, but I love that they switch costumes. I I love everything about it. It's just kind of lighthearted and fun, and he's still serious and he's still Batman, but it's a and then Superman throws him a pitch, and Batman's swinging, and he manages to hit it out of the park from a pitch from Superman. I don't know. This book, it's got Harley Quinn in it as the one that is able to reach Poison Ivy. It just, I don't know. It just makes me feel good. I love this book.
That book in particular doesn't contain your stereotypical superhero stories. They're very unique. They're very original. They're very fresh. And I really do think that Batman Superman 2-issue arc will stand the test of time and be known as one of the best Batman Superman stories of all time.
Speaking just for myself, it is. I just love it.
Even haters of Tom King's run, of which there are many, will admit that's a great arc. I've never heard anyone say that was a bad story. Everyone loves that, at least.
Well, I am not a hater of Tom King's arc. I am a lover of Tom King's arc. So that is my first uplifting book. I will go to this book time and time again to read it because it is just so fun, and it makes me feel good.
Well, whenever Jess and I were talking about this subject today, because we just decided on it this afternoon, I was looking over my shelves and trying to figure out, what does an uplifting book even mean? And I came to the conclusion that uplifting doesn't mean that a book is like unrelentingly happy and joyful and light. I think ultimately an uplifting book leaves you feeling a certain way. It leaves you feeling hopeful. Because there are some books that you kind of walk away feeling hopeless, and they're meant to at times. There's certain books that end on a bleak note, and they're supposed to make you think. I think uplifting books, at the end of them, they make you feel inspired. They make you feel hopeful. They make you want to be a productive member of society and bless someone else in some other way. And a book that really speaks to me in that way is Dark Knight by Paul Dini. I absolutely love this book. I think it's a really underappreciated gem. I know a lot of people like it, but I think it needs to be talked about even more. It's a Batman story in the sense that Batman and the Rogues Gallery pop up, but it's set in the real world. And it's about one of my favorite Batman writers of all time. That's Paul Dini, who wrote Streets of Gotham, The Private Case book, Heart of Hush. And he wrote a lot of the best episodes of Batman animated series like Heart of Hush, Joker's Favor, and on the list goes. And this is a story about whenever he was working on Batman the animated series, he was living a really big nerd dream that he was working on a great cartoon show with his favorite character. He won an Emmy. He had all the toys, all the video games, all the comics that he wanted. But he was kind of a selfish jerk in some ways. That he would date girls and not really appreciate them and show them the respect that they deserved. That he would kind of just take life not very seriously. But one night on his way home, he was brutally beaten by these two criminals, and he was almost like left for dead. They tried to run him over with his car, with their car. And he goes home, and he's just devastated by this, and he has to go through extensive reconstructive surgeries. It causes him to really go down a deep depression, go down this rabbit hole. And I know you're thinking at this point, Taylor, this doesn't sound very uplifting. But the whole point of this is that he gets out of his depression and he makes a lot of serious changes in his life. And I love how he uses the Rogues Gallery here, where the Joker is trying to get him to sit around and do nothing, just play video games, don't go out into the world, don't trust anybody. And Batman's really like a drill sergeant who shows up and says, no, you have to go on. You have to live again. And how it shows that Batman, even though he's not real in this book, he still inspires us. He still motivates us to be better people and to make our lives count for something, to use our lives to really help other people. And I just love how this book shows us that as comic fans, it's great to have a lot of stuff. It's cool to have a cool collection. But even in this book, he says he goes home with this bloody and beaten face and says, there's no one here to actually be concerned about me. All I have is my stuff looking back at me. And it really reminds you what's truly important in this life, and that's friends and family. And I think we're really coming face to face with that right now during this crisis. I think we're all realizing what really matters. It's our loved ones. It's the people we care the most about. And this is a great time for us to really let those people know how much you care about them, how much you love them, how much you're thankful for them. This book really reminds you that the most important thing you have is your relationships. And so this book is very inspiring.
Yeah, it is a great book. I want to highlight one comment that was a compliment, because I like to highlight compliments, from Chest Rockwell. Getting in a bit late. Thank you so much, Justin Taylor, for that Greg Rucka interview. One of my favorite things to happen during this quarantine. You guys are the best. Look at that.
Wow.
Thank you, Chest Rockwell.
And Remco, he says, I love Dark Knight, but it's very depressing. I understand how you feel that way, but I think ultimately it leaves you feeling hopeful and it leaves you feeling inspired. So I think sometimes the best stories lead you through the darkness so that you can get to the light. And it makes the light that much brighter, in my opinion.
And I have to admit to the chat that I do not own any Wham albums. I apologize. When I married my wife, she had an album collection, and she did have the Wham Wake Me Up Before You Go Go vinyl from like 1984. I don't know that made it into staying in our marriage. We may have sold that at a yard sale. And yeah, the Prince Batman soundtrack, I do have it, Candace, I do have that. I believe that was saved. That was on a higher shelf.
I'm A3N. That's hilarious. You're not going to get this because you didn't watch the show.
I haven't seen it yet. My daughter's told me about it, though.
My wife and I were watching it, and she kept saying, that sounds like Jess's introductions to his videos. She goes, hey, kittens and cats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We were laughing about that.
Oh, I never knew that. My daughters watched it and told me all about it.
I think you would enjoy it. It's crazy. My wife and I both really enjoyed it. It's sad, but it's also extremely entertaining at the same time.
A marriage should never get in the way of Wham. I apologize, Ryan. Let's see. Yeah, Remco had a good comment on Dark Knight. It also showed how fictional heroes can make a real change. That's inspiring.
Right, and I always talk about how much Batman means to me. He's not just a source of entertainment. He actually inspires me to be a better person, to be less selfish and more selfless. So I think these heroes aren't just escapism. They actually help you to process the real world and think about your own life. I think all good entertainment is able to allow you to escape, but also dig deeper into the purpose of your life at the same time.
And since we're doing compliments, thank you, Irish Knight. Just love your vids. They're making me come close to buying Grayson Omni Gotham Academy trades. Okay, well, now's the time for you to get them.
And where do you buy those books, Jess?
Well, you can get them at InStockTrades.com if you're in the U.S. That's where I would get them. IST, InStockTrades.com. They don't sponsor me, but I love them.
I've never been on Omni Bros. I've always wanted to say that. Where do you buy those books, Jess? We still love IST though, so we'll give them a shout out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without them. My next book is a Superman book. There's a lot of hopeful Superman books. I just picked this one, Secret Identity, Superman Secret Identity by Kurt Busiek, who is one of my favorite authors. He does a dynamite job in this book of showing what it would be like if Superman were real, if he aged, if he discovered his powers as a young boy, how that would freak him out. What would happen if he got married and he aged and he had kids? I won't spoil what the kids are like. But Clark Kent is a writer that's pretty famous. He marries Lois Lane. They have kids. He wrestles with his superpowers on how to use them, when to use them, if he should be seen at all. Kurt Busiek does a marvelous job, and the art by Stuart Immonen is fantastic. It's a wholesome story that just makes me feel good, and I'm actually going to read this again when we get done with the video. Just paging through it reminds me how much I really loved it. So it's an origin story, but a different kind of origin story, since it focuses more on Clark Kent, I would say, than Superman, and how Clark Kent wrestles with his superpowers and what to do with them. And he ages, and he's as he gets older, he ends up with grandkids, and it's just a fascinating book that I absolutely love. So I highly recommend this focus on Clark Kent, Secret Identity. I have the deluxe edition, but Kurt Busiek just nails it in this. He's one of my favorite writers, and this book is a good reason why. If you haven't read this, you need to do yourself a favor and really get it and really read it and just soak it in. It is a beautiful, brilliant, different sort of touchstone on Clark Kent, the man who just happens to have superpowers, and how he lives his life. It's just amazing.
And great art by Stuart Immonen, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Always great. And that book's hard to get now, isn't it? I think it's out of print, even the paperback.
Oh, it is?
I think so. Let me look online. If anybody else knows the answer to that, please let me know. I know I looked for an IST and I couldn't find it, because we were talking about the other day. Maybe it's on... It looks like it's on Amazon, but it's the secondary market, I think.
Is that the hardcover or the paperback?
The hardcover is kind of hard to get. Let me look at the paperback. If anybody else knows, say something in the chat. That'd be helpful. Let me look at the paperback.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to show a book that it turns out it's going to be hard to get.
It looks like you can get it on Amazon for like $17.
Oh, okay.
Paperback. But it's not going to get to your house till like May because of the obvious delays on Amazon.
Yeah.
But you can read it on Hoopla if you have Hoopla. So if you have that app, you're at least able to read it that way.
Right.
I'm sure you can find it for decent prices on Amazon or eBay if you have any issues.
Oh, yeah. eBay probably has it for cheap.
And in 2 weeks from now, Jess and I are going to review the Batman counterpart to that book, Creature of the Night by Kurt Busiek.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to review that and Batman Universe by Bendis. I'm really excited to read those books.
Me too.
And Ben Hamill says, I sadly haven't read very many Superman stories, but I do love Superman for All Seasons. I just read that yesterday. That is a great story.
I agree.
First time. I love everything by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. I love their Batman work, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunted Night. I love Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray. What's the other one? Spider-Man Blue. Captain America
White.
That was okay.
I haven't read that.
It definitely wasn't as good as the old stuff, but it was still decent.
D.H. McAdams is right. Those Tomasi Superman Rebirth books are great.
I just ordered the rest of the Superman Rebirth Deluxes and the Action Comics Rebirth Deluxes I didn't have already, because I need more Superman in my life, because, again, he's very aspirational, very inspirational, and we really need that right now, don't we? So since we're on a Superman kick, I'll talk about my Superman choice.
All right.
Almost like a Superman show. And I chose my favorite Superman origin story, and that's Superman's Secret Origin by Geoff Johns.
That's a brilliant book.
And this is a beautiful hardcover. Do you have this deluxe edition, Jess?
Yes, I do.
This is a great book. I think the best pairing that Geoff Johns has ever had is Gary Frank. I love their work together. I love their stuff on Batman Earth 1. I haven't read Doomsday Clock, but these two just really click together. Their arc on Shazam is also fantastic. And this is very much the Superman of the Christopher Reeves 70s movies and 80s movies, even though we all kind of wish the first two were the only movies that existed. I always love that part where he blows out the flame at the Olympics. The villain Superman. But this is a great story. it's basically, again, like his origin story. You see him as a young child. You see Clark as a teenager. You see him going to Metropolis for the first time to become a reporter at the Daily Planet. And it's really interesting to see what Metropolis is like, because as Superman readers, we're used to seeing Metropolis as this shiny, majestic city of the future, that they have low crime, that it's a really beautiful city. But in this version, it's very run down, it's very decrepit, it's crime filled. And it really shows how Superman turns Metropolis around and inspires the citizens of Metropolis to be better people. And Lex Luthor is pretty much the jerk that he always is, but he always chooses one person every day to change their life. And that sounds really noble, but he does it to really get people not to do anything with their own lives. He wants people to sit outside of his building begging, and he doesn't want them to actually go out and try to make these things happen for themselves. He wants them to hope in him and trust in him, which is always a bad decision to make. And I think it's a fantastic book. It's a great origin story. If you've never read Superman before, I would say start with Superman Secret Origin. It leaves you with a great, hopeful feeling. And another good place to start, if you want a good Superman origin story, is Superman Birthright by Mark Waid.
Oh, yeah.
But I do enjoy Secret Origin just a little bit more.
Birthright's brilliant.
That's my own personal opinion. They're both fantastic, and you should get both of them.
We should have just done a Superman show.
Well, I wanted to still keep with the theme of Batman, so DC. Yeah. So we did cover some Batman books. That's good.
Yeah. My next book will please Candace, if Candace is still in the chat, because I love Harley Quinn. This is the first Omni. It's by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti. This is the run, the New 52 run, that made me fall in love with Harley Quinn. It is a blast. She has the artwork is great. She is just a hoot in this book. She's Harleen Quinzel during the day, a roller derby star at night. She owns an apartment building full of wackos. And she inherits a bunch of dogs and takes care of all the dogs. It's hard to explain this apartment complex. It's got like a wax museum or something at the bottom, and it's in Coney Island, and they fling poop from the top. And I don't know. It's just wacky and crazy and fun, and she is a blast in it. She still kicks ass and still does tons of crazy things. She's got a dead beaver that talks to her. She's got hyenas, and all sorts of interesting, funny characters that are part of this. And I just dig this book. I love all of the Harley Quinn books by Palmiotti and Conner. They are just so fun and so out of this world crazy that they just make her a lovable character. She's not the Joker's murderous girlfriend. I understand that creation of her, and I understand that's how she was created, but I just really dig how fun this run is. It's 3 Omnis, or you can get them in trade paperbacks or deluxe editions. If you want to have fun, read Harley Quinn by Conner and Palmiotti. The artwork is solid all the way through all the Omnis. The writing is strong. The only part that I didn't like was in Omnibus 2, and that's Harley's Little Black Book. I felt that was pretty tone deaf on Harley Quinn, and I was surprised it was written by them. I did not. I don't know. Her Little Black Book in Omni 2 was not my favorite thing. Gang of Harleys was fine, but otherwise, Harley Quinn is a exciting, fun, blast of a comic.
And that's 3 Omnis, correct?
Yeah, I don't have the third Omni. I collected it in deluxe editions.
Okay.
But I do have the first 2 Omnis.
I want to show off some of these comments. The highlighter, Jess could start doing Batman bedtime stories for these out-of-print books. There you go, Jess. Get your robe and your nightcap with your little candle, walking around telling a bedtime story for Superman's secret identity. All the other whales that you have going on.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry.
And Ryan Lawson says, Geoff and Gary are my favorite team. That is a great duo.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Jess, did you know that the first episode of the 2nd season of Harley Quinn is out?
I was pinged by my friend whose name I am forgetting, the Welsh bastard, Ryan Says.
You waiting for a magic link to show up in your inbox?
Yes.
All right, so I'll go to my next choice. I'm going to continue with my Geoff Johns streak. I don't have the Omnis of this run, but I have it all in trades and hardcovers, and that is his Green Lantern run. And I decided to show off Rebirth because that's the first book in his run. I just think that the story of Hal Jordan is one that really is needed and really helpful during this time, because the whole conceit of Hal Jordan is that he is able to overcome great fear, and that even though he experiences fear, he's able to deal with it. He's able to funnel it into actually being a hero, that he takes what he's afraid of, he overcomes it, and he inspires everyone around him. And I think that's a message that we all need to hear right now, that a lot of us are experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration. And the question is, are we going to wallow in that? Are we just going to let it take over our mind? Or are we going to use it, channel it for greater good and to help other people and to have a positive outlook? And I think this whole book just has a redemption arc for Hal Jordan, who before this, he was pretty much like a war criminal who was possessed by Parallax and did some terrible things. And it sees him really have the road to redemption in this series. I think the entire run is good. There's some parts that are better than others, but overall, this is one of the greatest runs of comics of all time. And if you haven't read it, you really owe it to yourself to read it. It's not going to be a quick read, but it's a very satisfying read. Would you agree, Jess?
Yeah.
It's hard to go wrong with Geoff Johns, in my opinion.
Right.
I think there's no other Green Lantern run that comes close to his.
Yeah,
so I think you definitely pick this up. The Omnis are, I think they're readily available. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe Jess knows.
I actually don't know. I'm looking at mine. For some reason, I feel that might be JSA 2 I'm thinking of, that might be a little hard to find now. I think all 3 are still readily available.
Let me check on in-stock trades while you go through your next pick.
Well, it's another Superman book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow by Alan Moore, with great art by Kurt Swan. This deals with how they, this of course spoke to me as a Silver Age reader, how they decided to kind of segue from the Silver Age into the modern age. And it involves all these Silver Age quirky characters that Superman was involved with. Something's happening to them, and it's not good. All these quirky characters like Bizarro and Lana Lang and Jimmy Olsen, all these 60s characters, bad things are happening to them, and bad things are happening to Superman. And it's Superman is at a loss at a certain point, and he becomes aware that he's become a liability at a certain point, because so many bad things continue to happen around him. And here's the famous cover right here of him saying goodbye. It definitely has one of the saddest moments in comics for me. I won't say what it is because it'll make me cry. I'm already choked up. I'm aware that this is fiction, but I think it's brilliantly handled how they take the Man of Tomorrow, give him his rightful place in history, and then let a new Superman era take over. And included in this book are some really great stories. There's a famous Swamp Thing story in here with Superman. There's one of the most famous stories. I think this is Mongol, who gives Superman. I think this is, what do you give for the man who has everything?
I love that story. And that's a great episode of the Justice League cartoon.
Ah, okay.
It's all based on that comic. It's great.
Yeah, and this is one of the most famous and greatest Superman stories there is. So it's included in this volume, and it's great. I just think it's wonderful. So this is another book that I go to a lot of times just to read because I find it fun. It's one of my top 13 books. It started at the top 10 and then it ended up 13. But that's whoa, who just hates 90s comics? That's not true. Where's that picture
a new avatar has just popped up. A new Jess imitator has popped up in the wild.
I do not hate 90s comics.
You hate certain 90s comics, but you don't hate all of them.
Yeah, no. 90s comics were fun. I collected them all. I mean, I read everything in the 90s.
Is that picture from your Facebook?
What's that?
Is that picture from your Facebook?
It has to be, yeah. So it's somebody I know that's I'm friends with.
Maybe chat on me, dog, trying to have fun with you.
That's a crack up.
So you said that's your favorite Superman book, right? Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
I think it's probably one of my favorite stories ever because I was a Silver Age kid, you know, and dealt with all these creations and characters and stuff that he deals with, that Alan Moore deals with in the book, and he's so creative with how he deals with the main villain. It's just a marvelous sort of history of the 60s, just kind of crunched down, and the selfless act that Superman does so that the destruction stops, I think is remarkable. So it's it's probably my favorite Superman story ever.
I definitely need to read that. I've never read that before. Sounds like a must buy.
Oh yeah, this book is great.
I saw someone posting earlier. It's like, dang, you guys, I don't like Superman, but you're making me fill my cart with Superman books right now. That was like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But, hey, we're happy to help in any way that we can. All right, so I think I have one book left. Was that your last one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one book left. And again, this might be one that might seem a little bit strange that I'm picking it because it seems really dark and depressing, and that's Mr. Miracle by Tom King. And let me give some background as to why this book is so meaningful to me personally. I read this in February of 2019 when I recently found out that my wife was pregnant with our son. And I was going through a dark period of my life, just some personal stuff, a lot of repairs around the house. I was taking some money out of our bank account. And I was really struggling with the idea of having a son. Am I going to be a good father? Am I going to be able to provide this child with the love that he or she would deserve? And this book really helped me because Scott's dealing with depression in this book. He has a son in this book. And it was really cathartic for me to watch him go through these experiences and really see a dynamic marriage story in this book. I think that this book contains the greatest depiction of marriage I've seen in comics. I love the relationship between Big Barda and Scott Free, just how they're able to talk about how they want to arrange their condo, maybe demo a certain room to make room for the baby, and just they can just go on and kick butt in the next panel. That they're such a realistic couple, and you can just tell that Tom King has this kind of marriage. That he has a marriage with his wife that's very deep and very profound. And it really spoke to me as someone who's happily married and loves my wife. And so I really connected to that aspect of the story. And it shows you how, because the whole book is scot-free trying to wonder, is this really happening? Or have I been taken over by dark side and the anti-life equation? And I don't want to ruin anything for you. I don't want to spoil anything. But it's really just shows how depression, anxiety, these emotions that we experience can kind of distort reality for us. And we can really wonder what's real. Am I really seeing the world in the right way? But we're still called to make our lives meaningful. We're still called to find something that gives our lives meaning and to do the best that we can. And so I really think this book speaks to depression and anxiety in a profound way. And it really uplifts you. It really inspires you. It really motivates you to be the best person that you possibly can be in the face of the hardships of life. And this is probably my favorite Tom King book ever. And I'm really excited to upgrade to the deluxe edition that comes out this year. I'm disappointed it's not an absolute, but I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah, was that Mitch Gerard art?
And Mitch Gerard's, and the whole thing is almost exclusively 9-panel grids, which is fantastic. It's just crazy, all the detail he's able to jam into these such small panels. And Tom King is the master of the 9-panel grid. That he loves. That's his favorite way to tell comics. And it's such a dynamic way to tell this story, and is able to fill it with so many awesome conversations about life, about faith, about philosophy. It's a really deep dive of a book. It takes a decent amount of time to read it, but it's well worth your effort. Would you say it's one of your favorite Tom King books, or how would it rank for you?
I enjoyed it a lot. I read it 2 or 3 times because it took me 2 or 3 times to fully get it. But the humanness of their relationship really spoke to me as a married person. While they're busy fighting on Apocalypse, and the choices that he has to make, they're going back and forth, as you said, about creating a new room for the baby and stuff, and it's all happening at once. And I thought it was wonderful. It is. I don't know if it's probably top 5.
Both this and Vision are probably my favorites.
I think the Vision is probably my favorite Tom King book.
This one just spoke to me at the time of my life that I needed to read it. And so that's probably just my own personal experience.
Yeah. Well,
it just really hit me where I was at.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it's my favorite. I'll always remember, whenever I go back to that book throughout the years, I'll always remember how it helped me through that period of my life.
That's well said.
So those are our inspirational DC books. Let us know what you have to say about that. What are some inspirational books that you're reading right now? Barry Allen talks about Omega Men.
That's good.
I did like Omega Men. I didn't like it as much as other people did. I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite Tom King, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Are you going to upgrade it to deluxe? I think I'm going to keep my paperback.
I'm just going to keep my paperback.
Like, I really want a deluxe edition for this, though. I love this book, and I want to have an oversized art because I think it needs it because of the 9-panel grid of it. I want to see it oversized. I think it'll make the art pop that much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, my top 3 for Tom King would probably be Mr. Miracle, Vision, and Batman.
Yeah.
But I love Sheriff of Babylon. I love Omega Men too. So there's a lot of
maybe it is in my top 3.
He really hasn't done that many books yet.
Right.
But he's done a lot of great books, in my opinion.
I think so too.
I know this is off the top of our heads, and I didn't prepare you for this. Are there any aspirational, inspirational, uplifting Marvel books you can think of? Maybe like 1 or 2? For our Marvel fans?
Huh?
For our Marvel fans out there?
Well, we could do a separate Marvel episode.
That's true.
The first one I would say would be Marvels, the Kurt Busiek, Alex Ross book from like 1991 or whenever it was written. I have the oversized, crazy big edition of it. That would be my first choice. That's one of my favorite books ever, is Marvels.
I think one that I would pick is Daredevil by Mark Waid. I think again that one is just all about Matt Murdock battling with depression and how he gets out of that battle and how he's able to survive it. And it's very distinct from Bendis and Brubaker and Miller. It's very much going back to the swashbuckling 60s origin of the character. And I just love that run, especially when Chris Samney jumps on as the main artist. That's a fantastic book that I have to reread again.
And I haven't read it yet.
I'm trying to think of other books I would think that are from Marvel that I think are really uplifting. I had to think about that. I gave myself a question I can't fully answer. Oh, the Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
Oh,
I love that book. It's not exactly uplifting, but it's so funny. It's so light. It's so breezy. It's such a funny book. I love that omnibus, even though it's barely an omnibus. It's more of an oversized hardcover that they try to pretend to be an omnibus.
Yeah. I happen to be a huge Deadpool fan, so I love Deadpool by Joe Kelly. The Deadpool by Posehn and Dugan. I love that. So those are fun. I totally love those books. And I'll also say Fantastic Four by Hickman. I found that to be utterly fascinating and super well written and super interesting, and my favorite Fantastic Four book.
I love Hawkeye by Matt Fraction.
That's
a fun book too. And Irish Knight's mad at us.
Yeah, because we didn't talk about All-Star Superman.
That is a great book. I do love it. I just didn't pop in my mind initially.
It didn't pop into my head either. That is a great, great book.
I think especially that scene where he encounters that girl who wants to jump off a building. I don't want to ruin that scene, but just what he says to her to alleviate that situation. I know that meant a lot to Riley and Lou. I remember watching that years ago.
Right.
And talking about how it's really impacted them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Knight. That is a brilliant book. That's one of my favorite Morrison books.
Tim Klein, what do you think about his comment, Jess?
Where is he? Irredeemable Ant-Man.
Kirkman. Hey, Kirkman didn't dislike our Greg Rucka interview, so maybe he must be a Rucka fan. Tom King should take on Pharaoh Lad.
Just hates 90s comics, knows me well. Whoops. Just hates 90s comics.
We want to know who you really are. We want to know what your real identity is. Just hates 90s comics.
Maybe he'll be around for a while. I am getting a huge kick out of that.
Maybe it's T-Lar Blunt.
It could be. I'll tell you. It could be Omar.
That's true. That's true.
Omar knows a lot about me.
He does. Or that could be Gabe because he loves 90s comics. So it could be like an ironic choice.
That's true.
The Life and Death of Captain Marvel. I'd never read that.
I read that a long time ago.
Is that an old book? Is that like Captain Marvel in the sense of Shazam or the Captain Marvel of Marvel?
I think that Life and Death of Captain Marvel was back when Captain Marvel was a man, and I haven't read it in so long, but I feel like I don't know. I have it here somewhere. I know I have it here somewhere. It's a like a 70s or 80s cosmic book, and I can't remember. I can't remember who ends up killing him, but it's an interesting story. I read it so long ago. I just can't remember.
Culture says 70s Jim Starlin.
Yeah, that's right. Pop culture.
And D.H. McAdams says an uplifting book for him is I Hate Fairyland, and I never read that.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Do you think I would enjoy that?
It's pretty funny. Oh, Candace is right. Jim Starlin when he was Kree. Yeah, when Captain Marvel was Kree. That's right. Good, Candace. Good job.
I Irish Knight says it's actually Ryan Sace. Geoff hates 90s comics. JK, I don't know. It's very possible.
Yeah, I Hate Fairyland is fun. It's like brutally wacky.
Is it just those 2 books, those 2 hardcovers?
So far, that's all I have.
Okay. I need to get the rest of the Chew hardcovers. Right now, I'm like in filling up my gaps in my collection right now. I'm trying to figure out what I need to get, because every month those new books come out, and it's hard to sometimes fill in the gaps in your collection. You're trying to get those new books that come out, but now we're in a position where now it's time to fill in your backlog a little bit and get those books you've been meaning to get for a long time, if you're able to.
Yeah, and Attila says it's when the original Captain Marvel dies from cancer. That's right. Okay.
And Chess Rockwell has a question for you. Oh, I'm sorry, Irish Knight. I'm sorry.
Irish Knight. This is a tough one. As a non-Superman fan, should I pick up Secret Identity, Secret Origins, Birthright, or Man of Tomorrow? Only getting one now. You need to get all 4 of those.
If you're asking, I know you're asking Jess, but I would say get this one, to be honest. This or Birthright, because they're both origin stories.
Yeah, and I love Birthright, but I would pick this one.
Okay, so you'll decide if you care about my opinion or Jess's opinion more. Why not just get both?
Yeah.
It's like the famous Iron Man quote: "Is it too much to ask for both?"
Yeah.
But this is a great hardcover. I don't think you can get Birthright in hardcover anymore. I think it's just the trade paperback. So you can get a nice deluxe hardcover to your house of Superman Secret Origin, and Secret Identity seems like it's hard to find right now. So
don't be ripping down.
Yeah, we are trying to get you to buy 2 books right now.
Yeah, we are.
That's what the show's all about, trying to empty your wallet.
Yeah. And Candace brings up a good story that's an amazing story. When we're introduced to Dream, the sound of her wings, that got to me, that story. That definitely got to me.
And Chess Rockwell 415 is talking about Starman. I've never read Starman. Aren't you a big fan of that?
I am a big fan of that.
Which Omnibro is bored by that? Is it Lou? He says he always falls asleep when he tries reading it. I know you and Omar love it.
Yeah, that might be Lou.
Irish Knight, Jess and Omar have made me spend hundreds and hundreds on comics. They're not making you. They're influencing you. No one's holding a gun to your head. Tim Klein says they'll never steer you wrong, Irish Knight. I don't know. That's hard to say. What was the book we're making fun of Omar for liking the other day? Oh, he loves you. He loves year 2 more than year 1. How's that possible?
Batman year 2, he loves more than year 1, which is insane.
And what's that Avengers book he loves? Avengers: The Crossing?
Avengers: The Crossing, yeah.
And people always hate that book. The funny thing about Omar is that he has every book, even if he hates them. I can't have a book in my collection if I hate it. It would just bug me too much.
Yeah.
But his basement's like a museum of comics, like Jess's.
Yeah, except he's read most of his.
Well, now's a golden opportunity for you, Jess.
Yeah, it is.
Make a serious dent. And what did you say, the 80% backlog?
Yeah.
I think you said that the other night on Omnibros.
Yeah.
I think you read more than that. You read all the time.
I know. I read all the time, and this would be a good time for me to just stop buying and start reading.
That's true. You have enough to fill you for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. I have plenty to read. So, yeah. Barry Allen, are you asking me if I listen to TSOL, True Sounds of Liberty? I have Weathered Statues, the Little 45, and I love that. TSOL, that's a group from the 80s, a punk rock group from the 80s. TSOL was great.
Never even heard of them.
No, I don't see how you would.
So what's on deck for you next to read?
What's that?
What's on deck for you to read next?
Well, I don't know. I might finish Deceased, but I might not.
Maybe wait until this whole thing blows over.
Yeah, I may save that for November.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And Dark Multiverse was also not very uplifting either. It was pretty much all death.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone dies at the end. Great.
Um, I think that's a good question. I really need to keep going on Daredevil, Bendis's Daredevil. So I think I might concentrate on that this week.
That's a good call. Jesse Saywood has a question for you that I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I listened to that about 2 weeks ago, and I usually listen to it 3 or 4 times in a row. That's a Jane's Addiction song that I absolutely worship. Good job, Jesse Saywood, with a good memory. Nice pull.
And Kate and I watched a good uplifting movie on Disney Plus. They put the new Disney Pixar Onward on last night.
You watched that?
Yeah, it was really good. We both enjoyed it. But Mr. Body Massage, that's a good question.
I'm finishing Bendis, and then I'll go to Brubaker.
I think we were planning on doing a crime corner of Brubaker's Cap at some point this year, like in November.
Brubaker Cap. Okay.
Yeah.
Brubaker Cap. I misread that.
I think we were talking about doing that later on this year.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, I do need to read that. That's a recommendation.
That's a long read though. That's 5 omnis for you. So that'll be a long we'll have to give you a long lead in time for that one. I haven't read that run in 5 years, so I need to reread it for sure. And Zach has a question for us.
Okay, just a sec.
We kind of answered that a little bit like 10 minutes ago.
We kind of did, but we can go into it in more. I mean, these times are calling for uplifting show topics, so there's no reason Baturdays can't do a Marvel or indie books.
Or maybe that's even a show you do some other time, Jess, where you can like do it with, you can just like be one of your regular shows that you do. Put out.
Sure.
We mainly wanted to focus on DC because we don't want to stray too far away from the Batman theme, even though we're willing to do that. I think we did give our recommendations a couple of minutes ago. I said Hawkeye by Matt Fraction. That's a funny and really breezy, fun read. I also said Superior Foes of Spider-Man. What else did I say? I said something else. I can't remember. Oh, come on. You said, I forget what you said.
I said Deadpool by Posehn and Dugan and the Joe Kelly run. Oh, Silver Surfer, except it's out of print, the omnibus by Mike Allred and Dan Slott. That's fantastic.
Oh, Daredevil by Mark Waid. That's what I said. That was my third choice.
And I also said Fantastic Four by Hickman. I'm saying all these books that are out of print. Except you can get the complete collections of Fantastic Four by Hickman. I don't know how you would collect Silver Surfer now. They really should release complete collections of it.
Sorry, Irish Knight. I have not read Day Tripper yet. I do need to read that. That Absolute's being delayed right now until this whole thing's over. So
I've read it 3 or 4 times.
So I do need to read. I guess I'm the one wasting my life. Sorry, Irish Knight. I do need to read that. I was waiting for the Absolute to come out to pick it up, but that's not going to happen for a little bit. So I'll read it eventually, though.
Yeah, I think I read that earlier this year or the very last part of late year, reread it again.
I'm trying to think of indie books that are uplifting. Most of them are kind of dark, that I have at least. Kristen might be a good one to ask that question of.
Yeah. Kristen's right there.
Okay.
I'm here for an uplifting indie show, Jess. That's
Maybe
next Saturday.
That should be your Omni Dog and Omni Cat episode.
That'll be next Saturday, Kristen. Nice.
Yeah, because most of the ones I have on my shelves are kind of like dark and depressing. That I can think off the top of my head.
This is the indie queen. That'll be great.
Like, I'm not going to recommend Scalp Through 100 Bullets or Criminal to make you feel uplifted.
I was uplifted by Authority and Planetary. I thought those were great books.
Look what I have right here. It's right here.
Nice.
Yeah, again, I don't think uplifting has to mean it's like unrelentingly happy. I think it just leaves you with a sense of optimism. I'm trying to think of what book would...
Did you see this, Taylor?
What?
2017, Jess?
You kissing the camera, Jess? You blowing a kiss?
I don't know what I'm doing there.
Wait, where's 2016, Jess? I would be so happy right now if 2016 Jess showed up because I want to be friends with him really bad. Because I love 2020 Jess, but I miss 2016 Jess who bought everything. and drank root beer floats every day.
Right. That's right.
Back when you had 5 root beers a day. I miss you and Tyler Blunt trying to flex over who drank the most pop that day. It was always like I think Tyler always wins.
Oh,
though.
Tyler crushes me in that.
5 Dr. Peppers, and he's like 160 pounds.
Oh, I know. I think he drinks like 12 Dr. Peppers a day.
That guy better show up sometime soon because he doesn't do all the taxes as much anymore, does he? Is the deadline pushed back a little bit?
The deadline's pushed back, but then he said there's something about the stimulus bill that clients are calling about. So he has a lot of work to do with the stimulus bill.
Okay. Pop culture, you guys are making me realize how many dark, heavy books I like. That's usually the books that I like. But again, I think there can be dark books that are also uplifting at the same time.
Malby66, can you elaborate on that? Do I have to read Batman in order to understand and enjoy the stories? Are you talking about the books we just talked about?
I think he's maybe they're a newer Batman reader. I always say that there's a couple books that you should read in order if you're a first Batman fan. I would say the first Batman book you should read is Batman Year One, because that is his origin story after the post-crisis, after Crisis on Infinite Earths. Read Batman Year One, then read Long Halloween, and those Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb books. Those are fantastic. And then I would say actually get into the Scott Snyder run. That's a very new reader-friendly book, in my opinion.
This has to be Omar. 2016 Jess is back at the Hall of Jess.
Do you see 2017 Jess below him?
Yeah, and I'm still paying the bills for that 2016 guy.
I want to see 2016 Jess show up. That's my dream for this episode. And Iman, I've never read Starman. I know Jess has.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It's hard to read for someone like me because they're all out of print.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing about being a comic book fan. A lot of the greatest books are out of print, and you can't get them. Well, you can, but it's just harder to. And I love the artist on that run. Isn't that Tony Harris?
Yeah.
I love Ex Machina. That's probably my favorite Brian K. Vaughan book. And I think we actually want to read that for Crime Corner at some point.
Yeah, we do.
I'm really excited. That's going to be a movie with Oscar Isaac as the main character.
Yeah.
They can't call it Ex Machina because Oscar Isaac was already in a movie called Ex Machina several years ago. So they're calling it The Great Machine, I think.
Oh, okay. Here's a question. I don't know. Do you own Absolutes?
I only have 2 Absolutes right now. I have The New Frontier and I have Batman Black Mirror by Scott Snyder.
I have Batman Black Mirror by Snyder. Let me see what else.
I love Absolutes and I want to get more. That's why I really wanted there to be a Mr. Miracle Absolute. But they're doing a deluxe edition, which is fine. And I was planning on getting Day Tripper, but again, that's delayed during this whole crisis.
And Batman Hush is the other two. I have 2 Batman Absolutes.
I do love Absolutes, and I wish every company did that format. I guess library editions are kind of like Absolutes.
Right.
In a way. I don't think Marvel really has an equivalent. Their Treasury edition is kind of the same, but it's like flimsy paperbacks, though, which is why I don't buy them. I'm really glad I didn't buy that Silver Surfer Black Treasury edition because they're going to make that Donny Cates Space Omnibus.
I already sold that.
I'm so bummed because first I had the Thanos Wins trade paperback. Now I have the hardcover. Now I have to sell the hardcover to get the omnibus.
Yeah.
They're getting me to triple dip on this one. 2017 Jess spoke again.
Holy guacamole.
I always like when Jess says, wait, what do you always say? Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket.
I really wish I did have those Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb, Batman Absolutes. I think one of them is out of print, though.
Yeah.
Dark Victory's out of print, I think.
Yeah. I sold those to get the omnibus. That was part of the Pain Pill episode.
I just prefer Absolutes to omnibuses because the page count isn't as heavy and the art is that much bigger. They look great on the shelf.
Yeah.
2017 Jess is on a roll right now. It's giving
Yeah, it really is.
Business. And Malby, can you be more specific again? What trades are you looking for that are expensive and difficult?
I'm trying to be safe, Irish Knight. I've been staying home. I have a prescription I have to fill Tuesday, and that's the next time I'm leaving the house.
How do you feel about him calling you a senior citizen?
Apparently I am. I'm in the age group that's in danger.
I keep hearing that the dangerous group is over 65, which you're not.
Oh, well, I'm
65 and above, so you're just below it.
Okay.
Isn't a senior citizen like 65?
I don't know. I know that Costco is opening up an hour early, and same with Walgreens for customers 60 and older, so I qualify for that.
Yeah, pop culture. I would say my favorite format is deluxe hardcovers, but I think absolutes are definitely great. But the unfortunate thing is it's not across every company. It's just DC.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I love the deluxe editions.
Yeah, I think I've been buying less omnis over the past couple of years because I don't read them as much and they're kind of cumbersome to read. But I know like a lot of people like Riley loves the biggest omnibus possible. Like he was really excited about that Why the Last Man omni that nobody else bought.
Yeah, it's 1,500 pages or whatever.
If your house ever floods again, Jess, just buy a bunch of those and stick it under the door.
Yeah.
That way water can't get in. 2017, Jess, struck again.
I think I can get a discount at Denny's.
You can probably get a discount at most places.
Oh, at this point, yeah.
Man, all these Jesses from all over the place are just popping up in the chat.
Hey, I traded my Black Flag skateboard for comic books to Steve from Third Eye Comics. That was a great trade. Okay. Have we got anything else?
Yeah, if you guys had any other questions or anything else, any other comments, let us know, or we'll wrap it up, okay?
Yeah, 2017 Jess, 2018 Jess, 2020, whatever. Go ahead.
Pretty much all past versions of Jess are in this chat right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see what 2016 Jess looks like.
And Pop Culture says, I had a hernia surgery. My wife doesn't want me lifting 12-pound omnibuses.
Yeah, I don't beg you. I mean, I don't.
And Ryan Lawson has a question for us.
Who does?
Ryan Lawson. You see him up there? Is the latest Batman Tom King Deluxe matte paper? It is, unfortunately. But me and Jess are just thankful that they are making more of those deluxe editions of Tom King's run, because that would be a big disappointment for me.
Yeah, I agree.
That 5th deluxe was supposed to come out this July, but who knows what's going to happen now. I think everything's going to get pushed back to some degree. I know like Omar has pretty much said that DC's keeping their dates as is of right now in Marvel, but that could change in a month from now. Who knows? Irish Knight wants you to make a video for Starman.
Who does?
Irish Knight.
Oh, that'd be a good series for me to go back and reread, except that I hate that it's so out of print that it'll bum people out if I make a video on it.
Jess sold his absolutes to buy Batman Odyssey.
That's a lie.
Are you guys going to pick up the Batman animated series by Paul Dini? I know that's one book that DC is doing digital right now, that new series of Batman Adventures by Dini and Ty Templeton. And actually, Alan Burnett, who also worked on Batman animated series, is co-writing it with Dini. As of right now, I'm not, because that goes back into the whole digital thing. I'm just not a big digital fan. I'll read things on Hoopla and Marvel Unlimited, but I don't really buy digital. I'll probably wait for the inevitable hardcover or paperback of that.
Zach asked the question, have you guys done a video on favorite crime comics? We have a show that Taylor and I do called Crime Corner. You can check it out on my channel. We just interviewed Greg Rucka for it. We do interviews and we review our favorite books and crime books. We're doing it twice a month, and we go over the soundtracks that we listen to. Taylor listens to a lot of jazz when he reads his crime comics. I listen to a lot of ambient music. And then Taylor gives his favorite crime movie recommendations. So yeah, we check out my channel. We have several Crime Corner episodes.
And if all goes according to plan, we'll have an episode coming out sometime this upcoming week. We have a couple books that we'll be reviewing. And again, if you didn't hear us earlier, we have a Greg Rucka interview that was just posted last week. So watch that if you hadn't, because that was a great time that we both had with him. D.H. McAdams has a question. What are your favorite Batman guest appearances in other comics? That's a good question. I'll look back at my shelf.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's all I can think.
Well, that was fun. Super Sons. I think that had a lot of good Batman stuff in it.
Yeah.
What else we have here? Say Super Sons. That's probably my choice for right now. I do love those Justice League Omnis. I love that Justice League Dark War. That's probably one of my favorite Justice League stories. That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They had some great Batman stuff in that. Getting on the Mobius chair.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
I don't want to ruin that moment for people, but it's awesome.
Oh, there's Redcoat Turncoat. He's the one that wrote the Omnidog theme song.
Oh, really?
Thank you, buddy.
What's the Omnidog theme song?
Well, he wrote it for me back in 2016. This is Nate Burkholz, and he's got a band called Redcoat Turncoat. And I just haven't figured out a way to edit it in to my videos. It's a great song. I love it. It's so great. I love the song, and I need to just figure out a way. He's working on a stop motion intro now. He's putting a lot of work into it. And it's going to include the theme song. And so it's just a question of my figuring out how to edit it into my videos.
Jess isn't a big fan of editing, so.
I bet it's really simple, and I bet I could drop it right into iMovie and it would work. I need help.
Sure, you could ask Omar or Tyler, and they'd help you out, or Geo. Geo's good editor too.
Yeah, Tyler is a really good editor.
Nathaniel, thank you for the reminder. Everyone leave that like. That definitely helps us. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be ready for future videos. And Irish Knight, I didn't know that DC had a Starman Omni planned. Did you know that, Jess?
Yeah.
Oh, when they canceled that, back in the Great Purge of 2019?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Was it going to be a massive tome of like 1,500 pages?
I feel like it was going to be broken up.
Okay. I never read the Deathstroke Batman stuff that Priest did. D.H. McAdams says it was good. Do you have that hardcover, Jess?
I have Priest's Deathstroke in trade paperback.
I think they made a deluxe hardcover of the arc that featured a Batman and Deathstroke story.
Oh, okay.
If I'm remembering correctly. Let me know if I'm wrong, D.H. McAdams.
Candace, I'm not sure. My local comic store is doing curbside pickup and shipping, and they just shipped me something last week. So I think they're doing all they can to service their customers. That's Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland, and they are awesome. I hope they're doing well.
I think the only comic book stores that are doing somewhat well are the bigger stores like Third Eye. That's one of the bigger stores in the country, I would say, that's like famous.
Yeah.
Like that, Torpedo, Midtown Comics, places like that. I think some of the smaller mom and pop stores are the ones that are really suffering right now. Not trying to say the other ones aren't, but still.
Yeah. Here's a question for Iman for you.
You know, my favorite of last year, I've been ringing that bell a lot, is Batman Mythology by Peter Tomasi. That was my favorite Batman book of last year. My favorite book of all time. That's so hard. I don't know. Year one is great. I mean, it's a stereotypical answers of year one. Dark Knight Returns. I almost said Dark Knight Strikes Again. That's not true. But Iman, if you haven't read the first hardcover of Tomasi's detective run, please buy that. It's fantastic. I think Jess also loved it as well. We reviewed it, I think, October of last year. That was a fantastic Batman story. And that's definitely in my top 5.
You're talking about?
Mythology. Yeah, mythology.
Yeah,
we were a little bit disappointed by the follow-up, which was Arkham Knight. It was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as Mythology was. That was a fantastic story that did something really new with the character. And it really reminded me in a powerful way why I love Batman so much. So if you don't have that, definitely go buy that and add that to your IST cart or your Amazon cart, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, Batman versus Deathstroke just collects Deathstroke 30 through 35.
Oh, okay. I haven't got there yet. I've only read the first 3 trades of Deathstroke.
And Matthew Mongi is here. He's the one who draws some commissions for you, right?
Yeah, he sent me pictures of Emma and Psylocke, and they were awesome. I can't wait. They were brilliant. Matthew's really talented.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing him on a previous show on Omnibros saying that he's still doing commissions right now. So if you guys want to hit him up on Instagram, I know he's doing commissions.
Yeah.
All right, good. Amon has Mythology, and she's going to read it. Awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments after you read it. I would love to know.
Yeah.
That's definitely a book that's not talked about enough. The only ones who seem to be talking about it are me and Jess. So I want to see more people read it.
What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
Is it about Matthew? His commissions?
I can't remember. Well,
okay.
I'll think about something else. Are you a bigger Soups or Bats fan, Jess? That depends on the mood I'm in, I think.
There's only one right answer to that question, Jess.
It is Baturdays in the Batcave.
I really do think that your love for Batman has increased doing this show.
Oh, yeah. It definitely has.
I think mine's always been the same. It's always at 11. But I think Jess's has gotten a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, you've ramped it up. And I think Scott Snyder and Tom King helped ramp it up too.
Okay.
For Batman.
Right. I'm really excited to continue with King's Run and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else, anybody, before we wrap it up? Any last minute questions? Last minute comments? Any other Jesses from the past who want to pop up and give Jess some crap? Oh, Candace has a good question.
Yeah.
Underrated comic series or television show for someone to catch up on during and stay at home. Well, everyone knows about Tiger King, so I won't talk about that.
For catch up on during the stay at home. Well, I've been watching Legion, but I don't know if that's for everyone.
Yeah, I kind of gave up on that after the first.
Yeah, that's not for everyone.
I get tired of shows that you never know if it's real or not.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay, why am I investing myself into this if I never know?
Right,
what's happening is real, but I know a lot of people love it. Underrated.
Everything
That's a great question for Kristen. She's the master of underrated stuff. Underrated.
iZombie, the book. I think that's underrated.
Are you looking for like a series of like books, or can it be a one and done? One and done might be easier for me to pick out something that's a little bit underrated. You know what? Jess and I reviewed this last year, and I love this book, American Carnage. I don't see anybody else talking about this. I know Jeff is a big fan of Brian Edward Hill, who did Postal. I guess your hardcover should be showing up soon of Postal, right?
Yeah, it hasn't shown up yet.
Because you did the Kickstarter.
I did.
You know what I really enjoyed that you should read is Whiteout. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a book. Yeah, Jess and I are going to review that on our next Crime Corner. So if you want to hear more about it, Jess and I are going to review Whiteout. We're going to review Dead Eyes by Jerry Duggan. And I think we might review Last Days of American Crime as well if we feel like it. We'll see if we want to read that this weekend or not. So I would say, yeah, Whiteout and American Carnage are great underrated crime comics. Queen and Country for Girelli. Actually, I just got all 4 of those definitive editions in, and we're going to be reviewing that at the end of the month. And I believe that Jess ordered those to get them in as well.
Yeah, I had the first ones in hardcover, and then I got the rest of them in trades.
Candace, I know it's not really underrated, but Castlevania is a fantastic series, which I love.
I loved it too. Castlevania on Netflix.
And it's definitely not underrated, but my favorite comedy series of all time is Curb Your Enthusiasm. And you definitely need to watch it because that will brighten your day. Nothing makes me laugh more than Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm trying to get Jess to watch that again because he used to watch it, but he dropped off of it. So he needs to jump back into that. It's on Amazon Prime. The first 8 seasons are. And 9 and 10 are on HBO if you want to get a free trial run and just binge the rest of the episodes. Yeah, for Girelli, the last few hardcovers of Queen and Country are hard to find. We realized that when Jess showed me that he only had the first 3 hardcovers. And I just got those like digest size.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
Because those other ones are kind of impossible right now. Yes, Irish Knight, Curb is great, especially if you love Seinfeld like I did. This might be heresy, but I think I like Curb even more than Seinfeld. And that's saying a lot because I love Seinfeld. I can go toe-to-toe with the best of them in a Seinfeld trivia contest. I challenge any of you to a Seinfeld trivia contest. Don't challenge Jess, though. I don't think Jess has the memory for a trivia contest.
I don't. Do you remember the magazine in Master of His Domain? What was the magazine that George got caught with?
Oh, is it Good Housekeeping?
No.
Oh, what was it?
Glamour.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
I went toe-to-toe with you, dude.
Sorry. That was one you already knew, though. That had to be like an objective third party coming in. Yeah, that's one. Irish Knight, I don't care if it's blasphemy. I still like it. Guess who has all the Queen and Country hardcovers? I'm guessing you, Ford Girelli. Ford Girelli, you have everything, so there's no need to brag.
Yeah.
You pretty much have everything in existence. His haul pictures on the page are like 20 pictures long.
Yeah.
Every single month. Look what I got. Oh, you got everything.
Uh-oh.
Authority.
Authority. I'm going to say Authority.
I sadly wasn't a big fan of Grayson. I didn't even finish it.
Oh, really?
I just got kind of tired. I kept waiting for it to pick up. When it finally did, it immediately dropped in quality. It was like, okay. Oh, it's finally good. And it just dropped again. Especially whenever Mikhail Yanin wasn't doing the art anymore.
Yeah.
I just feel like it wasn't as good as everyone said it was.
Yes, so, Authority would be our choice.
And I go against the trend of saying that Mark Miller's run in this book is bad. I actually think it's really good. A lot of people say Mark Miller's part isn't that great. I mean, yeah, there is some misogynistic stuff in there, but I think overall it's still really good.
I agree.
And I still need to read this, The Authority by Ed Brubaker.
Oh, yeah, that's good too.
D.H. McAdams, I'm turning into George Costanza.
I am too, in a good way. I do the opposite of what I normally do.
That was a great episode.
That's right. And
my name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents. Hi, I'm Denise. I love that episode.
Yeah. I try to do the exact opposite of what my normal instincts are. And it's worked out really well.
I love on Curb where obviously the character of George is based off Larry David, and a lot of things that George has done are things that Larry actually did in real life. And when people in Curb make fun of the character of George, like, oh, he's so dumb and dim-witted and jerky. And he's like, no, he's not. He's just misunderstood. He makes people make fun of George because they're essentially making fun of him.
Right.
Irish Knight, I am offended by this. Is Authority really that good? Going to be mad if it's crap. Dude, Jess
you're putting a lot of pressure on us here today.
Did Jess and I recommend crap? No.
No.
That question for you.
I love Authority. I love it all the way through.
I think it's universally loved, at least the Warren Ellis part of it.
Yeah.
If you don't like Mark Millar, maybe just buy the First Absolute, which only has the Warren Ellis stuff. Iman, I'll have to disagree with you there. That's definitely better than Friends, but to each their own.
I can't.
That's a matter of opinion. All opinions are welcome here.
Yeah, I can't quote Friends like I can quote Seinfeld.
Poor Girelli, someone's asking him to make a collection video.
And he said no.
He doesn't have his own channel, so I don't think he wants to.
No.
I think poor Girelli likes being a man of mystery. Interesting question by Sam Cluxon.
Sam, haven't seen you in a while. Using the LA Rams connection. Did you used to watch Merlin Olsen on Little House on the Prairie? I wasn't a diehard watcher of Little House on the Prairie, but I did watch it. I watched it right after college because a guy I went to college with, and I can't think of his last name. I wasn't close with him, but his first name was Dean. He got a big part on that show, and I started watching him. He was my age and graduated with me, and he was an actor, and he ended up being on Little House on the Prairie for like 3 seasons. It was amazing. He was a nice guy. I don't know whatever happened to him. I can't remember his last name. Dean. I don't know, but he was a nice guy.
You're getting so many different obscure questions in this video, Jess. All these bands never heard of about Little House on the Prairie. I don't even know what's going on over here.
I love it. It's a crack up.
The one true Omni Dog is still here. Is that guessing that's you?
I'd like to think so.
Still hope that 2016 Jess pops up in the chat in our next video. That would be a dream come true.
He's got overweight.
He was a myth among men.
He's got to be overweight from all the root beer floats. Spent way too much money on every single thing he could possibly get his hands on.
Until you had the intervention with, who was that?
What's
Lewis
that?
McGregor. Until the intervention with Lewis McGregor. You both intervened with each other.
Yeah.
That video. The famous video.
Yeah.
The one that Omar always made fun of. All right. We ready to wrap?
Dean Butler. Right.
Irish Knight, I'm 29 years old, and I'll be 30 this year.
Dean Butler, very good. Yeah, we were just acquaintances that said hi to each other. We went to University of the Pacific in California. He was a good guy, though.
2015 Jess was still heavily spending, though. Someone said it'd be weird if there was a 2015 Jess. I think you were still in the group and still buying a lot of stuff. Weren't you?
Started.
2016 Jess was the one who showed up on Omni Bros for the first time. Are you ready to wrap it up, Jess?
Yeah, I think so. Omni Dog, if you're looking for some music, 9 Inch Nails just put out 2 instrumental albums for free on their website. That is awesome. I love the soundtracks that Trent Reznor did for Watchmen. Those are brilliant albums and brilliant music, so I'll check those out. Thank you.
I'm not a big 9 Inch Nails fan, but I do love Trent Reznor's scores, like you said.
Yeah, Watchmen scores are, they're so beautiful.
I want to look at all the different soundtracks. I mean, all the different scores he's done. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. He's done, where are they? I know he's done a lot of the David Fincher movies. But yeah, he's done a lot of great soundtracks.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. The chat was hugely live today, lively and exciting, full of lots of guest appearances of past iterations of me, which I appreciate. And thank you to the chat. Thank you to our viewers who are going to be watching after this. And please hit the like button. Please subscribe and feel free to comment. We always reply to comments. And as always, peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you for watching. This was fun.
See you guys.
Be safe.